Are you feeling extremely triggered at the moment? Has your unworthiness wound peeked its head up over the surface again? Are you feeling emotional and angry for no apparent reason? When we're healing, when our wounds resurface for final release, we can get, it's like an avalanche of emotions. It's like a pressure cooker exploding. There's a lot of trapped emotion that is screaming to get out. And this can often lead to bouts of anger. And often this anger is actually directed towards ourselves. And we need to figure out where this anger is coming from in order to understand it so we can release it for good. My name is Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialize in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. This is the big one for the last couple of weeks. That unworthiness, that feeling like we're not good enough. What's really when we resurface a wound, it's the most raw it can be. And I've mentioned this before, we're healing in layers. And I've discovered this, I only kind of really discovered this last night. I knew we healed in layers, and I knew every time we got stronger. So we were able to better handle the next layer. But now I'm after realizing that every layer is actually bigger than the one before because we are stronger and we're able to handle it more. But the last layer is fucking humongous. Oh my God. And that's and I've noticed this over the last maybe 6 months or that, since around Christmas, since before Christmas. I don't know how many months that is. 4? I don't know. And every, the last wound, the final wound is the deepest. But we're strong enough to handle it now. So, don't be scared when I say that, because we're actually strong enough to release it for good. And thankfully, it is the biggest, but it's the last one. But unfortunately, when we go through the last one, as it feels like anyway, we feel everything again. Like everything, every word spoken. And my unworthiness wound is stemming from, well, most of us, it stems from that abandonment, that rejection that stems from childhood. But that wound was re-triggered later in life through abusive relationships. And for me personally, actually, it's a mixture of both. It's my teenage wound, it's my childhood wound, it's the toxic relationships I was in. But everything is coming to the surface. Every word of abuse that was spoken to me, every time I was rejected, it's all coming out so raw. I even have, I'm getting so, and that's leading to anger. That's leading to me having angry bursts, these triggers. And that's the thing, if we have trapped emotions, we end up being triggered very easily. We end up getting emotional very easily. We end up getting angry very easily, because it's like that pressure cooker. If you put that lid on and it's, keep the lid on, it's going to fucking explode. And it's going to explode in unhealthy ways. And when we go through a final release, that's like the last bit of that deep, deep, deep stuff that we haven't faced yet is coming to the surface. And we might say once again, oh, I've healed this already, I'm fine. No, we heal in layers. So you heal step by step at the level of strength that you have. And whatever it is with this final release, it's like we actually have to feel all of it again. Because I find myself getting angry with myself and speaking to myself the way my exes spoke to me. So this is the thing, right? I had to sit with this yesterday. I've been getting so angry over the last week, and I've been, digging deep with my unworthiness wound. But I had to dig deep with this one and ask, why am I speaking to myself this way? Why am I speaking to myself the way my exes spoke to me? Why am I speaking to myself like I am worthless? And I'm like, that's not nice. I don't like that. Why am I doing this? And it's because I'm somewhat angry with myself. And we don't really realize how much anger we can hold towards ourselves, how much blame we can hold towards ourselves, how much resentment that we can hold towards ourselves. Because we can blame, we can say to ourselves, and this is only perception, and this is what's been going on in my head anyway, is like, I allowed this to happen. I allowed myself to be disrespected. I allowed myself to be abused. But no. We were in a very wounded space due to childhood trauma. And a lot of that attracted narcissistic abuse. But we didn't ask for it. We didn't cause it to happen. You know, and we keep saying to ourselves, but why didn't I prevent this? Why didn't I stand up for myself? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? You did not know how to at the time. You were afraid, you know, and you were trusting. You've only ever, like, for me personally, I only ever knew what toxic love looked like in my environment growing up. I only knew what toxic love looked like when I was in relationships. And that to me was love. And I was thinking about this yesterday. Unconsciously, did I actually attract that in a deliberate sense? In a sense of saying, I felt so worthless, so I needed somebody to reaffirm that to me. And in a way, that was comfort. Because when we know only abuse, that seems to be our comfort blanket. Because if we don't, you know, if somebody's nice to us, then we're like, the fuck do you want? There's something going on here. You know what I mean? So we kind of, because you're so used to a certain thing, it is what you attract. It's what you feel comfortable with. And some of that anger towards myself is because I hate saying these words. We didn't allow this to happen, but the perception of it is that we did. And I think we get angry with ourselves because we feel like we did allow this to happen. And don't get me wrong, as I said, we're in a wounded space. But when you get out of those energies, when you stop repeating those patterns, when you actually do heal, but then you fucking do repeat another pattern and you do let it happen again, that's another reason why I'm so angry with myself. So angry for not setting boundaries, you know, for not respecting myself. And I think that's the stem of this anger, is that we're so pissed off with ourselves for not, I don't know, feeling good enough. And that's where the unworthiness wound comes in. We're still living on this mentality where we were abandoned as kids, where we were abused in relationships, where we were outcast as teenagers by our family, by friends. You know, always pushed to the side. And then when the unworthiness wound comes back in and raw, and like, you know, we've healed this. We've gotten to a place where we have felt so good and empowered. But because it's coming up for final release, all of it's coming back in, all of it. And we're literally believing it. And that's why I'm so angry. I am angry with myself for believing the words of my abusers. I'm angry with myself for using those words against myself the last few days. They're horrible words. And deep down, I don't feel this for myself. But because I'm so pissed off at myself for letting those words hurt me, for believing those words. Like, this is the most important thing to remember. Narcissistic abusers, they actually pick on your highest points. They actually pick on the things that actually make you amazing and beautiful and make you shine. So, you know, you have to flip that. So every single thing they said about you was a complete lie and a complete opposite of what is actually true. But because of our wounding, we do believe it. And, you know, for me to be saying these things to myself, it's horrible. It's really horrible. And I'm so angry with myself. And I'm still going through this, you know what I mean? I thought it was okay this morning. I'm a little bit better. You know, I'm getting through it. Like, you know, I had to sit with this yesterday. Because I was getting so triggered. It's so, like, if you're anything like me, you're getting so triggered at fucking stupid things. And you're getting really blood-boiling angry at stupid things. And you're realising, why am I angry with myself? And a lot of it is that we're angry with the people that have hurt us. But we're so angry with ourselves. And I know this. I just feel this with us all. We're angry with ourselves for feeling unworthy. We're angry with ourselves for believing in the lies. We're angry with ourselves for not respecting ourselves and setting boundaries. We're angry with ourselves for feeling that we weren't strong enough. But we were strong. But because of our wounded inner child, you know, there was that open heart energy which was taken advantage of. And we were created into codependent, weak beings by our abusers, by the people who rejected us. And, you know, I'm so fucking saying this over and over again. The people who reject us, the people who have hurt us, they're not our people. The reason they picked on us, the reason they spoke to us like that is because they were intimidated. It's because they were jealous. It's because they wanted to steal our essence because it was so amazing. So, we're here fucking angry and upset and feeling unworthy based on the words of somebody who's actually is jealous of you and stealing your shine. So we're actually, we're upset over something that's a complete false thing. It's a lie, but yet because of our core wounding, it still hits deep. And then we are like, and I keep giving out to myself for being angry with myself, but I keep coming back to that. I'm angry with myself for not setting boundaries the last time. I'm angry with myself for repeating the patterns and not being strong enough in my self-respect. Not believing I was good enough to use my voice, to be assertive. And I think that's where all the pain stems from, really, is that we perceive ourselves to be weak or to have been weak. And that's it. Like, I can feel that in my chest right now. It's that perception of ourselves being walked all over or allowing ourselves to be walked all over. You can't actually blame somebody else's, like, I am not, this sounds so weird. I'm not blaming myself. I'm not saying blame yourself for the treatment that you got, that abuse that you got. It was never ever your fault. It was never my fault. I know this. But because of our core wounding, we can actually blame ourselves. So, it sounds so weird. It's like a fucking oxymoron. It is, but it isn't. You know what I mean? I know the truth. I know that we're not to blame. We did nothing wrong. I know this. If a friend was standing in front of me, I would say this, and I'm saying it to you. You did nothing wrong. But why am I saying to myself? Why am I angry with myself? If I can see the truth, if I know the truth, why do we still have that wounding? And it's our inner child. It really is. I can feel that pain in my chest as I speak this. That innocent child had no idea of anything. Yet all they realized was that perceived was that they weren't lovable. And that's where our anger kind of stems from, is because it's the wounded inner child within us. Because I can say all the truth right now. I can say all that truth. I can believe all that truth. But there's always that but inside me, because that inner child is still there kind of going, yeah, but why? Why did everyone leave? Why did everyone reject me? Why did I get abused? Why did everyone replace me? What's wrong with me? And that's the thing that we keep coming back to. And I think that's why we're getting so emotional and angry and feeling that unworthiness, is because we still can't decipher. Even though we know the truth, we know that truth, we're still kind of going, yeah, but everything in my reality is proving my unworthiness to be right. So how do we overstep that? The first place is facing it and seeing it and feeling it and understanding it. And that's what we're going through at the moment. We're being shown all this pain and anger again. We're literally being reminded of every time we were rejected, every time we were abused, every time we were spoken to like we were a piece of shit. And we're having to realize that it was never our fucking fault. It was never our fault, and none of it's true. The reason we were treated that way is because we are special. And, I know we feel isolated now thinking, how is that true when the 3D reality proves it otherwise? But it is true. We're strong, we're independent, we're warriors, not just survivors. We're warriors of this shit. Think of it that way. And look at you now compared to how you were. You had a shit fucked up childhood. You had a shit fucked up teenagehood. Then you endured shit fucked up toxic relationships because of your shit fucked up childhood. And you were broken. You were abused in every sense of the word to zero. You were in the deepest, darkest depths of hell. But look at you now. Look at how you brought yourself out of that. How you fought through all of that. Whether it was like, whatever you succumbed to, whether it was addictions afterwards or anything like that. You're at the other side now. So doesn't that prove every fucking dickhead wrong? Sorry for my language again. Doesn't it though? Everything they said was a lie. Because look at you now. You're the strongest person on this fucking planet because of everything you've been through. But you fought through everything even though you didn't have the tools to do so. So how does that make you unworthy? That just means that you attracted a shit ton of dickheads. Sorry. But you did. And, whatever. I'm not, I don't want to be, they did their things based on their level of wounding and their level of fucked upness. It was nothing to do with you. The only thing it was because you were shining and they were jealous and they were intimidated. So you were so amazing that you were targeted. I know that sounds weird, but it is because you were so amazing that you were targeted. And because you were able to fight through all that and get to where you are now, that proves you are so amazing. And it proves that they were jealous. It proves that they were intimidated. Because when you shed all that shit, you became your true self and you became the warrior that scared them in the first place. So we need to start forgiving ourselves, even though we don't need to forgive ourselves because we did nothing fucking wrong. Start to understand that those words are not true. And stop being so angry with yourself. I'm saying that to myself as well. It's so hard to forgive ourselves because we think we're the reason for all of it. And that's the hardest part. That unworthiness wound is centered around this anger because we feel we're angry because we believed it. And it's hard for us to unbelieve it or disbelieve it, whatever the word is. It's hard for us to come out of that because our logical ego mind is showing us what happened, whereas our soul is also showing us what happened. Which do we believe now? We believe the truth, and that's where pure, beautiful, amazing, strong, powerful human beings with kind hearts and kind souls. And it was only the behavior of others trying to steal that away from us that made us weak. We did not cause our abuse. We're not to blame for the words and the actions of other people. We are the most amazing people ever. You are. Understand that. Narcissists prey on your highest qualities. So everything they said, flip the switch. It's the opposite. So use the opposite phrases. Use the opposite words of what they used. And stop getting angry with yourself. Because you did nothing wrong. You have the strength now to believe in yourself. To set those boundaries. Excuse me. And to put yourself first. You don't need to go back into your old ways in order to feel loved, because you are truly loved by yourself. And you will attract the high vibration love that you deserve now. But understand, you have to face your anger. You have to face that unworthiness wound. You have to figure out where it stems from. Because if you don't figure out the root, it will continue to bubble again and again. And that's the thing. And I've been kind of working on this on and off for a little while now. Because as I said, when it actually comes up for the final release, it's big. It's the biggest one. But we're strong enough to go through it. But to me, it stems from being deceived. And my perception of allowing that to happen. I didn't allow it to happen. I was just wounded. And that's why it happened. So I have to understand, remember this again. How would you speak to a friend? If your friend said all this stuff to you and said that they blame themselves for their past, you would fucking give out to them and you'd say, no, it wasn't your fault. Please don't be angry with yourself. So please, guys, don't be angry with yourself because you did nothing wrong. You absolutely did nothing wrong. You were a victim, but now you're a warrior. So remember that. And remember, these people only preyed on you because you are special, because you are different, but in a good way. Well, different is always good. So remember that. Do not be hard on yourself for things that happened to you. You did not cause your past or your abuse. So you need to release yourself from the burden of that self-blame. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help in your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I'd love nothing more than to help you on your path.